Okay, good morning everyone. Today we'll discuss about web scraping. So the reason that we are discussing about scraping is because one of our modules in the project statement, that the mini project that we are doing, has a module called as web scraping, where the goal is to get some news from our website and then use it. All right. So let us see what are the web pages and understanding its page format and its processing. Okay. So this was the diagram that we drew yesterday, and we have four modules as of now. So report, news, collect data, and mail service. We have covered collect data already, and then we are discussing about the news. Okay. So, what are web pages? They're basically HTML pages, and it has a certain structure. We'll look into that in a moment. And then those web pages are read by browser, and it displays in a beautiful manner. It formats in a way that the user can relate to. Okay. So, what is scraping means? Scraping means that we kind of extract some information from the websites that you are interested in. For example, here I am interested in extracting news from particular websites, and then we can simply place an URL and shoot a request, and then download the HTML page, and then look for the news, and then display them, and then do some processing on top of it, and get the data in the format that we require. So if we further split this module into different processes, so this is how it looks. So as I said, first we download the page, we do the parsing, and we extract some data, and then maybe we keep it in for our purpose. We will keep it in a map or dictionary, but you can also send some kind of document, or a PPT, or CSV file, HTML file, PDF, whatever the format that end user requires. So this is the process. So and then okay, let us look into how does a web page look like. What is its structure, right? So as we discussed in one of our classes, we discussed about XML, JSON, and HTML. All these are data interchange formats, and the way that server and the browser communicates is via HTML for most of the web pages, and also it can give JSON or XML, but usually it's HTML. HTML is nothing but hypertext markup language. That means it's a markup language with an hypertext. Normal text is it doesn't have any formatting, or it doesn't have any hyperlinks inside that. So that is why it's called as this is advanced text, or we can say enriched text. So that is why it's called a hypertext markup language. Okay. So typically an HTML document would look like this. A page, it's called a document now. So it is referred as DOM in engineering world. So it has a root element starting from the tag called as HTML, and then it has branches. You can imagine like it as a tree, and then a tree has branches, and then there are furthermore branches inside that, and then there is text, there is head, that is heading, and then href stands for hyperlink reference, and then there are elements. So there are a lot of things. So in order to understand um, understand the logic to parse. We need to understand the structure of the document. Only then we can traverse through the document and then find the element that we require. For example, if the news is present at this level, the news text that we are looking for is at this level, maybe we have to start with HTML and then look for head and then look for title and then look for text. Okay, similarly the link could be somewhere here, href, so we need to find out all these things. But there are libraries which help us to find out all the text or all the elements that has a particular tag or a particular attribute. So we will make use of that and try to extract it. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel, like you don't have to write code to process the HTML text and then get the data, because it's tedious and it takes a lot of time. So let us look at some libraries, popular libraries, and I have written some code already, and I will demonstrate that. Okay, so let us get into code quickly. Okay. All right. So yesterday we had this code that we had written a skeleton code, and we wrote some interfaces, and those interfaces we are trying to fill up. So we just drew some boxes, and now we are trying to fill up those boxes. Now here in the news module, our aim is to extract news from certain newspapers. So let us take one of the popular newspapers called as Deccan Herald, and let us go into that page and look how it how the things are organized. Right. So this is a Deccan Herald page. So for the end user, it looks it looks like this, and there are various sections here, and there are headlines here, and there is a lot of news here. Okay, so in our case, we want to extract news which are related to COVID-19, COVID or Corona, these kind of keywords. Okay, so let us look into the structure of the page. For example, if I want to find out COVID news, how do I find out the news? Okay, so usually when we manually when we look into that, I go to this page and then I click on say this page or that link, and then you can see that there is a new URL that it gets redirected to. Okay, so now I can read through the news. Okay, so that is how the pages are organized. That means there are links inside the main page. So in order to extract the news, so first what we need to do is we need to open its source. That is, how does HTML look like for this particular page. This is for end users. For developers, we need to look into the HTML. Okay, so if you just right click and see view source, and this kind of plain boring text will show up, and then you can see that there is a lot of it looks like some kind of code here. So there are a lot of things. So usually people don't manually write it. It gets generated via some frameworks. So let us not discuss about it, but it's not manually written. Okay, but of course it can be written manually. For simple websites, you can simply write a few HTML tags and make a web page. So let us try to find out Corona. Okay, so we need some links that we can jump into those links. So okay, so all these Corona related news are in certain links. So what I can do is I can simply get all the links that is existing in this page, and then filter it only for a few keywords, that is coronavirus or corona or covid or COVID-19. So these are my keywords. Okay, so this is one more news, and corona is another keyword. Okay, so the idea is we download the page, not through the browser, but automatically using a requests library that we will see in a moment. Okay, so we download the page, and then we parse the page. We look for certain information, filter it, and then get the data. Okay, our end goal is to find all the links, and we should populate a dictionary with this link, and then maybe some headlines, that's all. Okay, so that the user, when he receives a mail from our output of our mini project, when he receives a mail, he should be able to click on the link, and then he should be redirected to this page, so that he can read his daily news about coronavirus. Okay, so let's do that on the code. Okay, I have written the code already, because it's difficult to write line by line in the live session. That is because every newspaper has its own structure, and we had to find out and under what tags this information are stored, and then it's difficult to find out the notes in the live session. So yeah, I took some time, maybe a couple of hours, to find out the newspaper and play around with all these tags. So it will take some time, so that is why I'm not doing it live. So I will show you the code that I have written, and I'll explain you. So if you have any questions, please do ask. So starting from where we stopped, so here is where we had stopped. We didn't have this code. Okay, where this code is written. So what are we fitting in? We are trying to fit in a new function called as a script Deccan Herald. So that function will go to this page and get the information. Okay, so script Deccan Herald. So let us look at this function, what it does. Okay, so I have given a URL. This is nothing but the same URL, the main URL. So idea is to download the page. So here I'm downloading at line number 25, and then there are many libraries, such as one of the popular ones is Beautiful Soup. Beautiful Soup is used to get a structured get some extracts, parse through the structured information, that is XML, HTML, and things like that. Beautiful Soup. Okay, so if you just look at this. Okay, so there are a lot of ways to scrape the website. The idea is simple, just download the page and parse it through. But since we do not have to reinvent the wheel, there are several libraries. This is one of the popular libraries, Beautiful Soup. So Beautiful Soup is a Python library for pulling the data out of XML and XML and HTML files. It works with your favorite parser to provide idiomatic ways of navigating, searching, and modifying the parse tree. Parse tree is nothing but this is called as parse tree, and this tells how the data is hierarchically organized and how they are related to each other. For example, this text is falling under a certain element, and this element belongs to this element, and this element again belongs to the root element. So it's a parent-child relationship. Okay, so that is what it tells. So you can read about it more in your own time when you're experimenting. Okay, so let's get back to code. Okay, So what is it taking as input? It has already few parsers. The parser that we are going to use is a HTML parser, and so we need to send that as an argument, and then we are trying to instantiate an object out of beautiful soup. So as we discussed in one of our classes, so this gets sent to init function, and then init function initializes and gives us a handle or a variable to further use the attributes and the functions. So this is an instantiation of an object, and we have created an object, and you can see that we are using that object to make use of the modules that are written inside it, or the functions. All right. So requests is one of the modules. We can simply send a request, as we saw in a previous class. I think in collect data, what we are doing is we are simply sending a get request. That is, a request is a library, and as the browser does, so it does the same thing, but you won't be able to see the data unless you print it. So it just downloads the HTML page that we saw a while ago, like this. So it will download this, and the browser does the actual processing and puts it in this format. That is browser's job, such as Google Chrome, Edge, Microsoft Internet Explorer, Safari, Firefox. Such browsers are written to parse this and put it in a nice format. Okay, so okay, let us get back to the code. Okay, we're already here. Okay, so I'm sending a request here. So this is my URL. I have put it in a variable. Okay, and then I'm instantiating an object using the beautiful soup library. So once I have this, so I'm trying to find out all the hrefs. Hrefs are nothing but hyperlinks. So those are here. So as we saw, we need all the links. First we'll get all the news. That means in our tree, HTML tree, the links could be somewhere here. So instead of traversing manually, that is like writing code get into this object and then move into this object, then I didn't find it here, so I go back here, go to this object and find out the href. Instead of writing code for our own code, what we can do, what all these libraries does is, we can simply get all the href nodes that are present in the document. So that is one of the features in that library. So get all the hrefs. Okay, so that is what is being done using this. So this is one of the attributes, because okay, a followed by href. Okay, this is an attribute, and this is a tag. Okay, so it goes to this tag, and then this is that attribute is picked up. Okay, so that is what this line does. What you can do is, while you are coding, you can get into Python terminal and execute this line by line, and then check what is happening. Okay, so it will give you an idea about how things are organized. Okay, let us do it for one of the URLs. Okay, so here I'm going to get the page. Okay, request is not there, so I'm going to import it. Import requests. Let me look at the page will be an object. So what type of object will it be? Let me look into that. Okay, this is a request dot models dot response object. It's a response object, and inside that we have some data. So in order to extract that, so let's look into that. There are this is one of the attributes. So this is the full page that we are seeing here. Okay, so request has successfully downloaded the page, and then let us look at this. So let me import the library here. Copy, paste it here. Go back to the code. Okay. So I'm going to use that page, and there is a variable or an attribute inside that requests, which gives the content in bytes format, and that is the input for the beautiful soup. Okay. So let us look at soup. Okay, let us look at what is soup. Okay, soup has all the the beautiful soup has taken this constructor or init function has taken this content and this parser, and now soup has got the data. Now let us look at, just try to extract all the links. Okay, we need one more library, that is import re. The reason that we are using a regular expression is because href we can simply put the text that we are looking for, but if we send a regular compile regular expression here, so what it does is this means ignore case, this regular expression, and then corona is one of the keywords, covid is another keyword. Okay, if any link that contains corona or covid, so get all those urls. So we have a lot of urls here, but we are going to filter only which for example href. So there are so many hrefs here. For example, this doesn't have corona, we don't need this link. Okay, so links which are which have corona or covid, we are going to extract only that. So get all the urls containing corona. Okay, so corona, this pipe stands for or, and this whole thing is a regular expression, and then compile is one of the functions which compiles this regular expression. The reason that we compile is because whenever we use regular expressions, it gets evaluated every time. Once you compile it, it doesn't get evaluated every time, but we can use it as a direct byte object. So that is why we compile, and it is efficient. So that is why we are compiling it here. So you can read about it later, but compiling is a good thing here. Okay, so we have got all the urls. So let us look at the urls. All urls, you can see that this is a list. So let us look into one of the urls. I'm going to just take on third element. Okay, nice. So I have got element a link or a text which contains href. So that is what I'm searching for. So it has covid, that is why it has we have filtered it. Okay, and then now we have got list of all the links. The reason that we are getting all the links is because here page, so these are just links Okay. um, so what we need to do is, idea is we click on this link and then go into that particular page. That means redirect to this page and get this headline. So we can actually, I think we can get the headlines from the main page itself, but we also need to I also wanted to show you how you can redirect to certain page. Okay, and then get the data, so that would be more accurate, I guess. Okay, so we have got all the URLs which are having these keywords, corona or covid. So now I'm looping it through. Okay, and then as you see, this is a sub URL. So this is particular to this Deccan Herald. So the Hindu or the Times of India or the Bangalore Mirror might have a different structure. So that is why web scraping is challenging, because you need to go into that particular website and try to understand its structure. And it is also possible that the code that you have written today might not work maybe 1 year later, because the developers might have changed the framework and the way that information is sent as HTML. So that is why web scraping is always going to be there. And there are a lot of frameworks which help us to do web scraping. So one of the frameworks is given in an assignment. You can try to use that. It's called web scraping. So the challenge here is, we have a URL. Okay, you have a main URL here, Deccan Herald, and we need to place this URL, say here. Okay, and then what are we going to do? We are going to copy this and we are going to paste this here. Okay, so let us hit. Okay, great. So idea is, so this we are doing it manually. So what I have done is I have taken the main URL here, and then I have pasted the sub URL here. So double slash means it just trims one of the slashes. Don't worry about double slash. Okay, so idea is I take this main URL as I did it manually. This is a sub URL. Okay, so from this URL, okay, so my sub URL, this is one of the instances just to demonstrate. So sub URL now contains this. So let us look at the type of okay, it's an element, base4 element. So maybe we can access it like, I just want this text. Maybe I can get it like, since it's an attribute, I can simply do sub URL and getting this URL. Okay, so this is how I'm getting sub URL, and then I need to concatenate it as we did on the browser and send a request again, and then we get this page content. Okay, all the contents of this page that we have redirected. Okay, this page content is extracted into this, and then again we do the same thing as we did for the main page. We're creating an object, and then we are again doing the find all. So inside that there is this type, this article. Okay, article tag. Okay, so the idea is, we want this news is embedded inside this tag. So yesterday I had researched about it. I mean, I looked into the structure of the page, and I did some homework. So that is how I I know that this news, this link that we came through the code has is present under this tag. So idea is to extract this headline and then extract anyways we have URL already, so extract this headline. Okay, so in order to extract this headline I need to extract the tag, all the elements, this particular tag and this attribute. So that is what I'm doing here. So this is the tag. So as we saw before, A is the tag and this was attribute, and script is a tag, and type is a attribute. Okay. So once I do this, I get all the news content that has that is embedded inside this tag. Okay, and then I loop through it just like I loop through the main page, and then I get this is, you can see that this is a JSON structure actually. Okay, the content inside this is a JSON structure. So once you kind of try to do a research, then you come to know that okay, this is a JSON, and then you kind of stepwise you find out that okay, this is JSON, so I need to load it into JSON, and so that I can extract one of the attributes inside that JSON. Okay, so I need to extract headline. So to make sure that this is a news article, there is an attribute called as news article. So as I'm looping through, so I have loaded that text into JSON. JSON loads is a function which takes in a string. Load s is a load string, so it takes a string that we have got from news content, and this is the dictionary. And inside the dictionary I am checking if one of the keys is article body. Okay, article body is one of the attributes, and then I'm checking if that is there, and then I'm going to extract news content.json and headline. In fact, you can write one more line of code saying that and headline is also an attribute in news content JSON dot keys. Okay, so or else, if this is present and if this is not present, this key is not present, we will get an error exception. Okay, so what we are trying to get the headline from this JSON content. Okay, so this is a JSON content, and then we are trying to extract the value of this key. Okay, so that is exactly what so there's JSON, we have converted the JSON into dictionary, then that dictionary we are trying to extract a certain value, and then this main URL plus sub URL is nothing but the text that we just pasted here. Main URL plus sub URL, main URL plus this is sub URL, so that I get a complete link, so that I can send that link to the user. Okay, now this is a dictionary, so this is a placeholder to store the extracted data. So I am just using that dictionary, and update is a function which updates the map, such as like in list we do list.append. So similarly map has update, because if there are if we are sending duplicate elements, it will automatically update the value, and key won't be changing. Okay, So that is what we are doing here. We are just updating the map, and we are done actually here. So this news map will contain, after this for loop, this map will contain all the news um, in a dictionary, all the news headlines in a dictionary, that is URL. We can use it as a key because it's a unique resource locator. Okay, and then this is a headline, it's a simple text, so this is the value. And then and just for our to check whether we have got some news or not, in Deccan Herald no news found, and then I'm just returning the news map. So let us look at, then we have used the same function and we glued it here. So I'm getting the news map as a return value, and then just for our printing to check whether printing purpose, I'm just using this print statement and putting in a for loop. But uh, for our project purpose we don't have to print it, just for our realization I have printed. Okay, so I'm printing the key and the value. Key is link and headline is the value. So let us try to run the program. Okay, so collect news py, news.py. So I'm triggering it here. Okay, in one of our classes we discussed that this statement gets executed only if I am trying to execute this file. That means if usually when we import news in any module here, okay, if there are any statements outside in a global area, that means here without any functions, it gets executed when we import. Okay, so if you and if you do not have this a particular code, what happens is it simply imports all the functions. It doesn't execute through all the functions unless you call it here. Okay, so if I don't have this statement and directly call collect news, okay, what happens is whenever I run reports, it automatically runs collect news, and then maybe we are again using it somewhere else, and it gets executed twice. Okay, so in order to do in order to work it, we also need to test this particular file, but we don't want it to be executed elsewhere when we are trying to import. So the reason that is the reason. So this is how we do it. This tells that when I'm executing, this attribute will be set as main. When I'm executing this as a file like this, I'm executing this as a file, so only then this gets called. So it checks who is running, what is my current name. If my current name is main, then only then I run it. Okay, but when you are trying to import it, this name is going to change. It will be module name instead of main. Okay, that is the reason that we are calling it here. Okay, so this won't affect when we import it. Okay, this won't affect the code, so that is why we are doing this. Okay, so that is that was already covered in one of the sessions, but if you are seeing this for first time, that is why we are doing it. Okay, so let us try to run the program. Pray God and hit enter. Fingers crossed. Okay, scraping Deccan Herald. Okay, good. It takes some time because there's a lot of processing inside. Good. So we have successfully collected the data in the format that we want. Okay, So collecting news, scraping taken herald. Okay, good. This is the print statement that we have put it in the in this function in collect news. So just to see, I'm printing it here. Let me maximize this. So this is the link. Okay, this is the key. Okay, great. And this is the headlines. Okay, so maybe user will see this coronavirus lockdown tests, couples has divorce queries rise. Okay, and then okay, there are so many cases in Karnataka, tally above, and total coronavirus lockdown in Kodagu on Saturdays and Sundays. Okay, these are just headlines, and even if you want to go one step further, even you can parse through the content like this. Okay, where is that? Okay. This is article body, maybe first paragraph, or maybe first paragraph, this one. So you can just extract this and put it under the dictionary value as well. So that is left to you, but the total idea about how we parse it through and how we get the data is what is explained. So we have achieved our goal of collecting news from one of the popular newspapers. Okay, so in fact this is quite time consuming because you have to look into the structure and then find out, maybe experiment on the command line, on the interpreter, and then collect those snippets and then put it together. Okay, so this code may not work for the Hindu or some other newspaper because that has a different HTML structure. Okay, so we can do it for a couple of newspapers, that is left to you, but this is a demo code, and then you can write code for any other newspaper. And web scraping is interesting as well as challenging. This is one of the applications of web scraping. There are several applications. For example, if there is a if there's a new mobile that is being released on Flipkart or Amazon.com .in, what you do is you can write a script to constantly poll that website and try to see if that mobile is being put on the website, and of course it needs your credentials, that you can check out how to get into websites with credentials, and then extract that particular if the product is launched or not, and also you can send some queries to book your favorite mobile or your favorite whatever it is. So that can be used in shopping, and also you can scrape websites for say a price comparison. If there is a new product that is being launched, and then in your company, and then you want to compare the prices, get all the prices that are existing in the market for the same product, and you can write some script and compare the prices, and also you kind of can do analytics on top of it. And there are endless opportunities in web scraping. And if you are a freelancer, there are a lot of web scraping jobs on Upwork and freelancer.com. Okay, so you can explore them. So usually once you get used to how things get processed here using a beautiful soap or other libraries, then you can move into certain frameworks. There are a lot of frameworks available to do the web scraping. So if you just search here Python web scraping libraries, so there are several libraries. Okay, okay, and then one of them we use, that's beautiful soup. And let's look at framework. So there are several frameworks already. One of the popular ones is Scrapy, and people just keep writing frameworks. So you can do your own research for that. Okay. So but um, you should keep in mind that there is a certain process that is in your head. You need to be aware of the HTML structure, or whatever the data that you're trying to download from requests library, and then you need to know what are the web pages, and then what is its format, and how do we process it. Okay, download the page, parse, we have parse the page using beautiful soup, and then we have extracted, filtered again, and then we have transformed it, not in these documents, but we have transformed it into a dictionary. Then you can in fact use that to generate other files if you have different requirement. But for us that was the requirement, and we have successfully done that. Okay, so that's all I had, and I have a assignment for you. So find elements from any news page other than Deccan Herald. I'll put this code on GitHub. You can use it as a reference, and then you can maybe scrape a website of your own choice and get some news. And further learning, just read about Scrapy framework, one of the popular frameworks. You can read about other frameworks, but just understand how the frameworks work and what problems they solve. Okay, so that's all I had. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Please ask any questions if you have any. Okay. Okay. Bye. Thank you.